Axons Unleashed.
G'day ladies and gents, my name's Robbie Turner. Welcome to another episode of Axons Unleashed. Shit, I've been looking forward to this. This is going to be one of a cracking episodes we've done for a long, long time, and that's saying something because we've had some amazing guests on here recently. I recommend you watch this on Spotify or watch this on YouTube because the banter and the interaction and the rapport that my guest and I have got here today will be something worth watching as opposed to just listening. I won't lie, if you are just listening to us on the bus or the train on the way to work, you're probably going to start bursting out laughing in front of everyone and I wonder what the fuck you're looking at. But mate, it brings me absolute great pleasure to bring a good mate of mine. We've known each other for a long time. I can't wait to share the story. We've got Shaun Spain join us with us from Bespoke Gold Coast Realty. Brother, thank you for coming along. Welcome to Axons Unleashed.
Pleasure.
Good to meet you, mate. Good to see you again. Meet you. To be fair, we haven't probably seen each other for the better part of 15 years.
Easy. Yeah.
I mean, I know we've interacted loads and loads and loads on social media and email and whatever else, but it's so good to see someone that I haven't seen for quite a while. And you haven't changed too much.
No, I just got fat.
So, it says I. Absolutely, mate. So, yeah, thank you so much. Like, as a business owner yourself, veteran entrepreneur, as I like to call it, and myself, our schedules are bloody crazy busy. I know your business is booming. I can't wait to tell everyone about that. You're in the real estate game as well, so it's similar. Like you do things very different to us, but at the end of the day, you and I are both in the industry. Would you agree of allowing people to create wealth in their life by buying and selling houses?
Definitely, 100%.
That's what it's all about.
And like I've mentioned many times, a lot of my clients are coming from Melbourne and Sydney. And I'm selling to them with investment properties. I'm also helping out locals and veterans still as well, and pensioners.
So good. And I know you've been doing it for a long time, mate. So, hey, as I normally do on these podcasts, mate, take us back to the start. And this is something I don't know about you. And certainly I can't wait to share the story of how you and I know each other anyway. Where did you grow up and why did you even think about joining the military?
Well, I grew up in Victoria, a little town called Broadford on a 2,500 acre property. Oof. And I was a sheep farmer with my parents and my grandfather.
Love it. There's something to be said about boys from the bush, people from the bush. You know, one of the wonderful ladies would just join us, Shania. She's from country Victoria, and she's a fucking gem of a lady. She's easygoing. She's one of the boys. You can say fuck around her every now and then, and she loves the footy, AFL footy the real footy, but she's just a bloody gem to be around. I grew up in the country, and I really, really resonate with people from the country. It's funny, my wife says to me, she goes, geez, you speak like a bogan sometimes. I'm like, no, babe, I'm from the country. It's fucking different. She's from Western Sydney, by the way.
Yeah.
So I don't know what right she's got to say about talking about like a bogan. Apologies to all our Western Sydney listeners. But, mate, grew up on the farm. What was that like?
I absolutely loved it. I was there until, I was 28, but I was living in town at that stage as well. And, life on the land is just absolutely phenomenal. You call a spade. Everyone helps out one another. You know, there's no BS. If somebody needs a hand, you go out there and help them. You know, we had sheep, we had cattle, we had horses, we had, you name it. We even had emus and deer and all that sort of thing as well.
Shit. Yeah, there you go.
You know, our pigs and ducks and chooks and, we're self-sustainability.
Yeah.
It was really good. Yeah, good
Love
times.
Love it. Where did the idea come from then for 28-year-old Shaun? You had a few indoor cricket seasons under your belt then as far as life lessons go. What made you bloody run off and join the army?
Well, it was one of those things, I did my apprenticeship as a diesel mechanic, and then from there, when I finished that, I went over to the States and worked over in Montana, USA. And then from there, as a truck driver, farmhand, and just spending time, and did over 12,000 mile in a Lincoln Continental, 460 V8. And then I came home and I worked for a transport company called Knights Transport. And then from there, one day I've just sort of thought, well, I've always wanted to serve my country. Why not become a police officer or join the army? So I turned around and just gone, well, I'll try out for both.
Yeah.
And I passed all tests for the police officer as well as the army. And then before I knew it, I got a phone call, get on the bus.
You're going down to Kapooka.
I was going to Kapooka.
Early 1999, I understand.
Yeah, 2nd of February 99.
2nd of February. You get off the bus at Kapooka and who's fucking waiting for you?
Oh, well, we had all sorts of corporals yelling and screaming and, Bombardier Turner, RT.
Me.
Some big guy looking at everybody and screaming and yelling and get off the bus, line up here.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody didn't know what we were doing. It was quite amusing.
Of course. And you know what, mate? That was you would have been my first platoon I put through. So I went down to Kapooka in January, having finished my time jumping as a paratrooper with 3RAR when Battery was in Holsworthy. Went down there, did my recruit instructor selection course, you know, got all quelled up effectively. So you guys getting off the bus would have been my first interaction if it was that early. I only did 4 platoons whilst I was down there, so you would have been my first one. You were my guinea pig, mate, as a recruit, by the way. But here's the thing, of course, you would appreciate. I fucking distinctly remember still to this day what it was like some 33 years ago when I got off the bus and some motherfucker was yelling at me. So it was one of those things, mate. How did life at Kapooka start to settle down for you, though? And you know, it wouldn't have been too much of a culture shock for you.
It wasn't a culture shock for me because, being 28 years of age and having all these younger kids, I was pretty much resignated with them, and a lot of them were calling me dad, you know, and, you know, they were too scared to go and knock on the door, you know, Corporal Bombardier Turner or whomever, you know, can we speak with you, you know, and they were asking me to do it because I was too bloody well scared to. I didn't worry me. Like, don't get me wrong, Bombardier Turner, he had me on my toes and he had me feeling for my seams in my pants every now and again.
Yep, good.
But, you know, it was hard. It was the full process of going through basic training, knocking you down from being a civvy and becoming a soldier. Yeah. You know, and becoming a soldier, you know, that led into a 15-year 5 deployments and it build you up as a soldier. Yeah. You know, and basic training is there for a reason. We need to know what is going to happen. Yeah. You know, they don't train you to, you know, see casualties and things like that, but, you know, over a time of deployments, we ended up learning to cope with that to a certain aspect.
Yeah, you do. I reflect on my time because, as you know, Shaun, I had the opportunity after I got commissioned from Sergeant, the Captain, did my first SOTG trip, having done already Timor and Solomon Islands. And then I went down to Duntroon and did a similar thing. Yep. I wasn't down there doing the basic training in 3rd class. I was the leadership instructor for 2nd class and 1st class. So effectively what I used to say to the cadets down there, I'm like, listen, do yourselves a favour. When you see me rock in with my bloody commando beret, you know we're talking about leadership. I was the only commando officer down there at the time. I'm like, I'm speaking to you about important shit that you're going to put into place very soon after and probably go to Afghanistan. Now, I didn't have the opportunity of putting it into context with you when I was putting you through your basic training, because East Timor had only just started kicking off in sort of 1999.
That's right.
Certainly there was no, you know, Afghan or Iraqi trips on the horizon. So I feel a little bit that the context I was able to provide cadets down at Duntroon many years ago was much more impactful because, you know, and sure as shit, you know, 18 months after they left Duntroon, they're fucking platoon commanders leading troops on combat operations in Afghanistan. I couldn't provide you that context down at Kapooka. I'm like, just get through basic training and go and be a good soldier, and one day you might need to put this into practice. And certainly with your 5 deployments, mate, and I want to get into that as much as what you dare. You know, you've absolutely taken some of the lessons learned from our basic training, you know, being brilliant at the basics, and gone and done bloody amazing things.
Oh, too right. Yeah, it was absolutely phenomenal, you know, and I remember my first march into, you know, my at 3 Basby at that stage. And I've rolled in and I've had to go and see my platoon commander, and he's telling me what I needed to do and how I needed to do it. And I said, sir, no disrespect, but you barely had a nappies. You know, the sergeant levitated out of his chair and he's nearly grabbed me and forced me outside and had a bit of a chat to me. But he reckons it was the funniest thing he's ever heard. You know, but yeah, from there I went over to the mess and I was peeling potatoes for a few weeks.
Yeah. Just as a nice little reminder there, Private Spain, don't tell the bloody platoon commander that he's fucking still in nappies. Hey, before we go too far down that track, you sent me an email this morning that recounted a story of mine that I don't remember. I remember one little bit of it. Because one of those things, I for those who've known me for a long, long time, you would agree, I've lived a full and energetic and very eventful life. It's almost like my bandwidth is full. So when something comes in, something's got to drop out. And when I was reading some of the things you sent through to me today about some certain little event that we did down in Kapooka, mate, I want you to share that story with everybody, because I brought everyone over to read my screen. I'm like, fuck, this is funny. I don't remember everything about it, but I know it happened, and I definitely want our listeners to hear all about it now. Go for it.
The funny thing was, at Kapooka, the Bombardiers, the corporals, they're really into giving you a hard time. Hurry up, wait, hurry up, get your shoes
Not
polished.
good enough, do this, do that. Turn around, try again.
So we wanted a couple of days, break, and I mentioned to Bombardier Turner, how about an arm wrestle? And if we win, you got to leave us alone. If not, you can double up on give us a hard time. Well, anyway, I knew that I could beat him. I wasn't as massive as what Bombardier Turner was, but I had a few arm wrestles in my time. And anyway,
you're a bloody 28-year-old bloke from the country, mate. Fucking hard as nails, like alligator skin.
Yeah, well, it was quite funny. We sat through all the guys, and by this time, Cash was the last person to sort of give him an arm wrestle.
So I've got 10 or 11 bloody arm wrestles under my belt by now.
Yeah, we've worn him out. It was funny as the next minute, I've shaped up to Bombardier Turner. We've gripped arms. I'm looking at him, and he's strong. He was pretty strong, and we're just holding there. Next minute, I've looked at him. I've given him a wink, and I've blown him a kiss. The look on his face was priceless, and down I went.
Bang!
Smash. Won it. And he honoured his promise, and so the other corporals, and we had 2 days of leave us alone. Yeah. It was priceless. It was good fun.
I do not remember all of that occurring, but I still remember you looking me in the eye, blowing me a kiss and winking, and I went, fuck, now I know what happened, and all of a sudden my bloody shoulder nearly got ripped out of my socket. So, mate, good. That's a very, very good story, mate. It's phenomenal. Like, I remember a lot of things that my section commander did to me at Kapooka back in 1990, almost 33 years ago. And I'm sure as shit he would not remember any of them because, to be fair, there was more and more platoons after you, and and the stories I've got for those people that are probably etched into their brains as well. But when you're just down there doing your job, it just becomes sort of part and parcel. So, mate, I thank you for sharing that. It enriches my soul to know that you still remember that story. I shan't now forget it. It's certainly something I absolutely cherish, mate. Thank you.
I'll tell you another story, and it's quite amusing. And we're at the RDJ, and everybody's going over, and we've got this young lady, and she was built like a brick shit house, And then all of a sudden, the PDI comes across, and he goes, I said, guys on this side, girls on the other side, and all of a sudden the look on your face was absolutely priceless. This girl's gone, I am a girl. I'm over here in the girls, and all of a sudden the PDI's look on his face was just phenomenal, and Robbie was started. You could see the other corporals just look away and start pissing themselves laughing.
She must have had a really short haircut, and you couldn't tell that she was a female.
Yeah. She was a GA Jane, that chick. She was absolutely, and she could have taken on the guys RDJ without a problem either.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Tell me, so we know already as you transition into the real world, into the real army. Calling young lieutenants bloody saying that they've still got their nappies on, is a bit weird. When did you sort of feel like you were into the groove and really enjoying being in the army and hitting your straps, starting to get some recognition, getting some kudos and credence amongst your peers and your superiors, and starting to get some promotions under your belt?
Well, what happened? MAS came through the whole brigade of. At Laverick Barracks with all the vehicles.
Maintenance advisory service?
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
And then checking all the non-techs, making sure everything's up to speed.
Correct, yeah. Making sure all the paperwork's submitted for any work that needed doing. Well, being a past mechanic, I never told anyone that I was a mechanic. I kept that secret. But my section was the only section that actually passed MAS. And then all the other vehicles within the whole of Laverick Barracks, most of them were actually grounded as well. So it was my section going out doing all these tasks, and the 2IC called a parade, and next minute, she was cursing and swearing on how useless everybody was sort of was, and before I knew it, she was calling me up to stand beside her, and I'd only been there 3 months, And pretty much from there, the recognition, and I thought, no, this is the last thing I wanted, because everybody was going to think I was a bloody brown nose.
Yeah. What are you doing up there? You a bloody Jube?
Yeah, pretty much. And I was a Jube completely and utterly. I was the first person in my whole family to ever join the military. My grandfather's family, they all supplied horses and supplies to the army. They actually didn't join the army, so I was the first one.
Got it. Yeah.
So that was another reason why I joined the army, because I wanted to serve my country and be the first one.
Yeah, mate, there's no doubt about it. I don't remember you specifically, again, because it's just too long ago for me, but I do remember having, and certainly Duntroon was the same, when you have a mature age recruit or a mature age cadet, like you would have been.
Yeah.
So everyone else is 17, 18, 19. You're the better part of 10 years older. Obviously, there's a shit tin more experience and just, life exposure that goes into that.
Definitely.
I know I absolutely sort of, and I can't remember whether I did it to you, pulled you aside and go, hey, what's going on with those other young fucks down there? So I used to really lean on, like you're like a mole, like you're an insider.
Definitely.
What's going on? Is everyone sort of getting through this? So I'm sure in the real world that some of your superiors would have gone, all right, this is not like a 21-year-old young dig who's a Jube. He's a 28-year-old guy who hasn't done many years in the army per se, but he's still got a lot of life experience and therefore perspective and attitude toward things.
Oh, definitely. And it did actually help me out in my progression through the army and actually being promoted early and getting the trips overseas.
Right.
From pretty much from there, getting recognition from the Ramey guys, making sure that all my vehicles were up and running. And I wasn't even a second commander or a 2IC. I was just a private that wanted to continue to work. It was the easiest job I've ever had being in the army.
Yeah.
Working for a civvy transport company before I joined the army, you had to work, and you had to work hard, and you had to provide, ongoing maintenance schedules, make sure those trucks are on the road making money. In the army, we're not there to make money. We're actually there to serve our country and be deployed.
Yeah. And you and I now, as business owners, know that there is a commercial aspect. Like cash is the oxygen of running a business.
Definitely. You got overheads, you got people you got to pay, you got bills, you've got,
but none of that exists in the military.
None of it.
You just
existed.
fucking rock up, and if you break it, you go bloody submit your L&D into the Q store, and another one bloody magically arrives.
Yeah, well,
broadly,
it usually did, but I usually stepped on a few people's toes by not waiting for bits and pieces and parts, and as again, running a service department as a civvy, I used to just go to Mack Trucks and actually buy the part, get it all fitted, torque it all up, and take off the red stickers. And from there, I had to front the CSM and explain what was I doing taking off red stickers. And then I had to explain to him that, sir, no disrespect, but I probably hold more qualifications what you do.
Yeah.
And then I got to please explain from there as well.
So you don't mind pushing the boundaries, mate. Look, it's one of those things. When the truth is the truth and you're actually communicating with that genuine and authentic manner, even if you are just a private, as you're saying, you certainly knew more about how to run a sort of proper transport operation than most others.
Well, it was quite funny that day. He gave me 20 minutes to prove the fact that I hold more qualifications than him. I went home, got me folders of all the qualifications I had, and then submitted them all. And he's looked at me and goes, "Holy shit, you actually got paid. You're on nearly 120,000 a year, and you've joined the army." He said, "Why aren't you over in Ramey?" I said, "You couldn't pay me enough."
Yeah, no, nice. No, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to drive, get out and about, see the different country, and yet again get deployed. And again, I didn't really want to get promoted. I wanted to stay as a private and hit all these deployments. And then
Tell us about your first one, mate.
First one, 1999. It was absolutely a true honour to be on that deployment.
So later that year.
Yeah, later
we
that
met
year.
in 99. So you're
Correct.
like fresh out of Kapooka, 6 months later, boom, you're on deployment.
Pretty much, yeah. I'd already had my heavy combination licence before I joined the army. And then they were asking for TDW, that's a Mack water truck drivers, and there wasn't enough of us. So they got me on the first course and said, "You're going to East Timor."
Yep.
And
Just
then
kicked off.
Just kicked off. So before I knew it, we're on the on either a plane or a barge or boat heading over there. And then from there, we hit Dili and we're off loading everything, and it was very surreal. It was so quiet. There was no birds. Everything was burning.
The smell. Everyone has been to Dili. The smell of burning rubber, or the smell of burning everything. You can't forget it, can you?
No. Unfortunately, there was the smell of burning bodies as well, which was pretty disgusting, you know, and just seeing the atrocities that are actually happened over there as well. And
this was the Badlands back in early in mid '99, mid to late '99 when it first kicked off. Shit, I didn't do my first trip over to East Timor until 2002.
Right, yeah.
And there was no shoot 'em ups going on then.
No.
Like it was all bloody just pure peacekeeping. But it was quite a mess, shall we say, when the first people went over there.
It was, you know, and we set the task to make sure that we were living in pits and all that sort of stuff. Weren't even living in tents at that stage. You know, we still had our hoochies up and all that sort of thing. You know, doing our perimeter checks and doing our patrols and
good. All the shit I taught you to do.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, and carrying a lot.
Wasn't
of
wasted,
crap.
mate.
No, it wasn't. You know, it was a true experience. You know, and again, absolutely loved it. You know, I would have done that deployment for free. You know, to be there in '99 on that first deployment to East Timor and to help people. You know, work and, you know, again, there was nobody around. They all headed for the hills and they were living in the hills. And you put your Ninox on and you could just look up in the hills and you could actually see where all the fires were burning up there, where people were trying to keep low so they wouldn't get attacked or hurt or shot or macheted to death or whatnot. You know, the militia were really going to town on them, unfortunately.
Yeah, got it. Let's jump straight to your second one because we've got 5 to go through. You're a war dog, mate. You're a war hero. Where was your second one?
Second one again was East Timor. Right. I did it back to back. So the first one was 2 RAR, 3 Sisby, 3 Basby, then 3 Sisby, and then second one, East Timor again. Yep. So pretty much because of what happened, but you know, it was one of those things that you know, I was thrown into workshops. You know, they wanted me to get vehicles going and work with Ramey. So, yeah, I did all that as well. And before I knew it, I was meeting the RSMA and, in Cosgrave. That was the first one. And before I knew it, I was heading over to Suai. I asked to be headed over there. Yeah. But the second one was a little bit different. Again, more peacekeeping and doing patrolling.
The whole mission had transitioned by then, hadn't it?
And it had. You know, we were working with the locals more, trying to stop the gang violence as well. And doing a lot of patrols and a lot of supplies up into Batagade, you know, we called it Batagutful, you know, and across to Suai, you know, the roads were absolutely atrocious. You know, they were about as wide as a Mac and, you know, we'll go through a set of tyres a day. Just get up there and you change
very severe drop-offs.
Drop-offs.
It was actually very risky driving those heavy vehicles around there.
It was. You know, nobody went over, thank God. And, you know, it was, again, one of those experiences that we'll never forget again, you know. But, again, posted to Batagade in East Timor, that was one of the hottest, muggiest places you could ever be, and that's why we called it Batagutful.
I bet.
It was good times.
When did you get promoted, mate? When did your first hook come along?
Geez, my first one came just after 2002, after the deployment. Yeah. You know, my first promotional course, sub 1. You know, they say pack light, freeze at night, and unfortunately I didn't do that. You know, a typical bloody truckie, I packed everything thinking that I could throw it in the back of the Land Rover.
No, so
No.
The Land Rover was in between your shoulders.
Yeah, bloody oath it was. You know, and it was quite funny. The DS has looked at me and he goes, "You're going to be 6 today," and I've just got, shit, where am I going to put this? You know, but the boys helped me pack it all in. But yeah, I had close to 55 kilos on me on that day. Those comms were... They were bricks, you know. They weighed a nice few kilos.
Yeah, yeah. What was that like, mate? Again, I still distinctly remember the first time I had a hook in my arm, and that's that transition you make from being one of the boys into being, you know, the leader or the manager of them. Like, how did you find your first step into leadership? Let's talk about that for a bit.
Well, pretty much, you know, after that first MAS incident when I first joined, they actually threw me into a 2IC position, and I'd only been in the army for 4 months then. So I was literally a 2IC anyway.
So a digger, but by appointment 2IC.
Correct. Yeah. So I was ready for it, and again, it wasn't hard because I was more of a servicing NCO and making sure that all these vehicles would be continue to get service. The paperwork was submitted, and there was no MAS issues after that. Yeah. You know, and that was for the whole platoon in the end, and so yeah. Getting promoted to Lance Corporal wasn't really an issue at all. You know, I just fell straight into it. And again, having that maturity, and, you know, Sarge Begalia, absolute champion, if you're listening out there, you know, he was an absolute phenomenal guy, and he just gave me free rein.
Great.
Pretty much all the corporals and all the sergeants, and, you know, and that was for Bravo as well, working with them. you know, and working with all the other privates and teaching them how to fix their own trucks, what to look out for if something was to break down.
Do you know, there's no doubt about it, when a leader gives a subordinate free rein, do you know what he's saying to you? I trust you. I believe in you. You know your shit. I know you won't let me down. Go do your best.
Too right. Yeah.
That's what it means. Yeah. That's, in my mind, that's what free rein means. And I have no doubt you felt that. You embodied that. You weren't going to let them down. You do know your shit, and you would have loved a little bit of autonomy.
Oh, and again, it was absolutely awesome. You know, with all my privates, all my subordinates, you know, and the hierarchy as well. You know, in the end, I was getting, you know, further into my career. You know, I was getting phone calls directly from, you know, General High Marsh generals, you know, saying, Spainy, you know.
It's like, Spainy, it's Michael here. How you doing?
That was absolutely, that was good times. And again, a lot of the OCs and sergeants, warrant officers going, you know, why are you getting a call from a general? What's he want? You know? And I was just like, oh yeah, he just wants to get some shit done, you know, and I'm getting it done, you know. Going past all that red tape BS and going straight to a QM to say, you know, the boys need this.
Yeah.
And again, when you're working for the elite, you don't want to hold them up when they need something.
Of course.
You know, and that was my job, to make sure it was ready, their vehicles were ready, you know, the stores that they wanted were ready. And again, working with, you know, other corporals, sergeants, warrant officers, and the elite, you got to make sure that it's there, done, dusted, and no one's waiting. And that way, you know, the mission can proceed without any hiccups.
Let's talk about some elite, because I did a trip to the Solis and a trip to East Timor. I felt like they were like little rehearsals for the main game.
For the main game.
The main game when you go over to Afghan and or Iraq. So I know you've got some experiences in that, mate. So
Afghanistan. Wow.
Yeah.
that was a step up. You know, people really want to
welcome to first grade, son, as they say.
You know, I always remember, you know, flying into TK, Tarankout. We
what year we're talking now, mate?
That's 2006.
Righto, so pretty early.
Yep. You know, it was myself and a private I chose who I wanted to take with me, and he was pretty switched on with the mission and what we had to achieve with teaching the boys, you know, special operations vehicles.
Just for context, I went over there as SOTG 1 in August 2005, and we went over and set up TK. So you were there very soon after.
Yeah.
It was fucking not much there.
There wasn't much.
We were sleeping in tents again, getting rocketed every night, wondering if one of those fuckers were going to land on your bloody face. So yeah, it wasn't pleasant. But yeah, so you're over there quite early, mate.
Yeah.
For your first trip anyway.
And it was bloody cold, you know, the minus 10s, minus 20s.
Yeah.
Everything was freezing, you know, but again, especially at night. But otherwise, you know, our first trip over there was actually in a Chinook. And we had air support all the way there, you know, Black Hawks flying beside us, other American, you know, helicopters, Apaches. Yeah. You know, they escorted us because, you know, the Taliban just wanted to shoot down a Chinook, you know, so we had absolutely phenomenal.
They've seen the movie Black Hawk Down,
yeah,
and they're like, let's, like Mogadishu,
yeah,
let's go fucking do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
unfortunately, they did get a couple, but not ours.
Not ours, thank God, yeah. But we took off, and next minute we're attack flying in, and before we got to a certain area, they decided to do a test fire with 50 cal, and my private, I won't mention his name, but he was sitting beside him, and I forgot to mention deliberately that we were going to do a test fire. And next minute he started opening up. Well, this guy's head, he pretty much just disappeared into his shoulders.
Yeah.
You know, he actually obviously thought that we were going to start getting fired upon, but yeah, it was just a test fire.
Yeah. It's a human natural reaction, mate. There's no judgment on that fella. There's bloody, if you don't know what's coming and you don't know how you're going to react in a certain circumstance, you'll know when it's happening.
That was his first deployment, and he'd done an absolute phenomenal job.
Awesome.
The guy was an absolute legend. I'm glad I took him with me. You know, he knew what he had to do. We'd trained before we headed over there, and yeah, landing in TK, we did our job. We stayed at Camp Russell, and we helped out the boys there, and very professional. You know, it was again good times. That night we got hit 4 times. You know, the first time we
was that early in 2006 then. If it's cold,
yeah, it was. Yeah, right. It was. Yeah.
I was still there then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was August 05 to April 06 was my first So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, that was a real eye opener. You know, to have 4 rockets and one of them came into base, and yeah, that got pretty messed up. You know, one of the civvies that was actually working in there, he got killed, and a few other boys got pretty severely injured.
Yeah,
but one of the SAS fellas, you know, as the first one came in, you know, we had containers, you know, covered in sandbags.
Yeah, you had to rush and go and get out of bed.
Yeah. And he's like, just stay out of here. You know, those things are like bloody well coffins. You know, if they get hit directly, we're gone anyway. Yeah. You know, so we just stayed outside of the of these containers.
Yeah, it's an unusual feeling, isn't it? I'm not trying to be too dramatic here, but because all the bomb-proof shelters had not been built by then.
No,
not at all. You were in bloody wooden bloody humpties and, you know, and sleeping in tents.
Most of them were wooden or tents.
And when you are fast asleep and that air raid siren goes off and you know that they're pointing bombs towards you and then the bombs are in the air and you got to get your shit out of bed and then go run somewhere, it's literally a game of Russian roulette.
And it is. Yeah, too right it is.
It's bloody, you know, Daniel, it's you know, imagine that, mate, just bloody fast asleep and then all of a sudden the siren goes off. Like, it's fucked. You know, there's far, far worse circumstances to be in, but, you know, that was my first exposure to a bit of danger over there as well. I'm like, holy shit. And when it goes off, 2 things, you're like, thank fuck that wasn't right next to me. And the second thing is like, holy shit, I hope no one's hurt.
Oh, so, no, definitely. You're always worried for the guys that you're working with and the other, you know, allies that are actually on the base as well. You know, next minute when you hear a few, you know, screaming and what going on, you know something's gone bad. Yeah.
When was your first, did you experience any trauma over there? Did you experience any sort of, you know, bad experiences?
No, I didn't know. No, I was pretty fortunate with Afghanistan not to see any full-on trauma stuff because I was actually there to do a job and teach these guys how to use these specialised vehicles. Yeah. And just going off outside the wire, as they call it, and just patrol around. And these particular vehicles, I can't go into detail because of what they are, but yeah, they served a purpose, and you know, we achieved what we were there for, and we trained up quite a few people on these particular specialised vehicles.
I remember, mate, when I was a junior NCO and senior NCO, it was all about, if you're not an operator, if you're not going outside the wire, you're just a fucking pogue and you're less than us. That's the way I thought, and to be fair, a lot of other people thought the same. But when I became an officer and you had a broader understanding of the overall capability, that those vehicles won't work unless they're maintained properly. Those operators can't do their jobs in those vehicles unless they're maintained properly. The mission and the outcome that we're trying to achieve as a command chain won't occur unless the vehicles are maintained properly. So I had a really different mindset as far as the importance of, there was no pogues, there was no operators, there was no shooters, there was no, you know, people bloody sitting behind a desk. Everybody was there to serve their purpose, and everybody was interdependent and reliant on each other.
100%. Everyone did have their purpose. Everybody was there to help out every single person, from, you know, the cooks all the way to, you know, Ramey, or, you know,
if there's no cooks, you don't have any fucking food. How are you going to fight on an empty stomach? And like, good luck eating fucking rat packs, especially as a SOCOM guy. Like, the mess was over there was good. You would have loved that.
You know, being in Camp Russell and being detached to the South Fellas, we were pretty well fed.
Of course,
we ate what they ate. Yep. We didn't go to the other messes.
It's the best, isn't it?
You know, it was, you know, and it was quite funny. One day we've walked up to Camp Russell and next minute this woe's gone, hey, what do you think you're doing over there? And I started punching in the code, and I said, because we're meant to.
Yeah, now get fucked. He was a grumpy sergeant major, wasn't he, Daniel? Oh, there you go, mate. Good stuff. How was life when you got back to Australia? You know, there'll be people listening right now that have had a deployment to Afghanistan, in or outside the wire, crazy fucking place, getting bombed left, right and centre, and you come back to Australia for the first time. Did you have a complete different viewpoint, perspective, stance on the world?
100%. Even you know, that first deployment, not necessarily the second deployment to East Timor, but the first deployment to East Timor, we were getting, you know, weapons pointed at us, you know, and then obviously with Afghanistan, again, to go into Afghanistan and know that these people are trying to kill you, you know, not necessarily East Timor, but, you know, it was really one of those things that this was real. This was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
That
so that's what I mean. So coming back to Australia now, the safe haven.
Everybody was heightened.
It's right. There's an emotional and mental roller coaster everyone goes on, especially in the first one. It changes your life, mate. Would you agree?
It does, and you start arguing about the simplest things. You see somebody, complaining about, the little tiny kid, I want a toy, and then you think to yourself, well, I've just come back from East Timor. There's no kids with any toys over there. And you come back from Afghanistan, a lot of these young girls, you don't see any because, they're getting abused through their own culture. And then some of these young boys, they're getting abused through their culture.
It's a fucking crazy world, mate. You can't explain it all.
No.
I'm hearing you now. You're a very good speaker, and for you not to be able to explain perfectly what it means is totally natural because I can't even explain it. It's just another culture, and it's completely foreign to us.
It's a cultural change, and it is all about their culture. We're going over there. They don't want us to be there.
Correct.
We're trying to stop what's going on within their culture, but again, we're not there to actually change their culture. We're just trying to bring peace to, their way of living. But
a country that's been at war for hundreds of years.
They've fought against every single person that surrounded them, and they continue to win. It's
because they got one thing on their mind, on their side.
Hills.
Time. Well, yeah, hills and time.
Mountain ranges.
That's all about their local environment, but they got time, mate.
They've got so much, they're mountain ranges, they're rabbit warrens. The amount of, years, it's going to probably take another 500 years until they can actually realise that, peace is a better way of living and, give these women a chance.
And I won't lie to you, buddy, the chances of you and I still being here then are slim.
Very, yeah. Like I said, 500 years definitely won't be here.
Hey, did you do another trip over there?
I didn't do another trip to Afghanistan, but I did go to Iraq I did another trip to East Timor in 2007.
Yeah.
After SOCOM.
That would have been very different again.
It was, yeah. It was more of everyone kept on relating to it as a Bali or a Thailand type, trip. It was pretty easy going.
Sure.
And just, again, supporting different areas.
Just basic military presence
and it was, I still loved it, still enjoyed it, still saw more of the country.
Still smelt the same, minus the bodies though.
Yeah, pretty much. You still had a bit of gang violence here and there, but it was pretty much under control. Again, from SOCOM, I got a choice where I wanted to go, and I chose 6 area.
Great.
And pretty much on the day that I marched in, I was told, off to East Timor. I've become, highly recommended, and here I was, and all these other corporals are thinking, who's this bloke just marched, he's getting a bloody good trip.
Yeah.
And a third one at that to East Timor.
It's funny, as a business here that's local to Southeast Queensland, we have lots and lots of clients that have, come from 6RR, and all of them love serving there. All
Absolutely.
of them are very proud. Yeah. I've not been there myself, of course. And I didn't even get a posting to Southeast Queensland at all. But yeah, mate, there's you hear about the 1 RARs, the 2 RARs, the 3 RARs, and the other special forces regiments. But from my point of view, anyway, I've spoken to so many people that come from the 6 RAR battalion group, and they fucking love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love being at 6 RAR Transport. And just working with all the guys and girls there. The professionalism was absolutely phenomenal. And not saying none of the other ones weren't either.
Definitely not. Nope.
But it was just, I love being at SOCOM, the professionalism there, but you worked hard because you had to provide a service like 24/7.
And everything is real.
Everything is 100% real. There's no mucking around. Pretty much marching into 6 RAR and getting another trip over to East Timor, I met some of the boys again. And they were coming up to me saying, Spainy, the guy that we got working for us at the moment is not doing his job. Can you help us out? And before I knew it, I was going to the QM and saying, QM, can you help these boys out?
Yeah,
and next minute he saw who they were and, I introduced them, and before you know it, I was getting shit done again.
Of course. Yeah, good on you.
But again...
Everything's about relationships, mate.
And it is. You form that relationship of trust, and it's not just in the army, but in business as well. If you can provide a service and you can get rid of all the red tape, and keep it simple. The simpler it is, the easier it is, and the quicker the mission can be done.
Yeah. Tell us quickly about your Iraq trip, because I want to start to talk about transition and what you're doing now, mate.
Yeah, Iraq. I spent just over 10 months
because I didn't do a trip, so
Yeah.
I did not go to Iraq. So I'm interested to see, what it was all about for you.
That was Talil. I that was a different experience. Again, everybody wanted to try and kill us. You know, IEDs everywhere.
What year we're talking now?
That was in, again, end of 2007 through to 2008.
Yeah, so you had a very condensed and very busy deployment schedule, really, didn't you?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I loved going. And again, that was another reason I didn't want to be promoted to sergeant, because I wanted to be
So you're
deployed.
full track by now?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Good man.
Yeah, corporal by then. And again, absolutely loving it. And everybody was relying on me. I had an awesome section. You know, again, 6 area, just absolutely phenomenal. You know, our woes, you know, they just pretty much gave me free rein. Ramey Way, he gave me free rein.
Good.
And
do you remember why? I told you before.
Yeah.
There's 5 reasons why they do it, mate,
know,
and you've got it in spades.
You know, it was one of those things that, you know, they just didn't micromanage me. As soon as they set me a task to do, I did it. You know, and I was even building things for the pommies. You know, and I was awarded a Ratchet coin while I was over there by Brigadier Freeman.
Well done.
You know, and not only the pommies, but the Yanks and ourselves. I was, you know, welding up different ideas. I'm a bit of an ideas man, so I like coming up with different inventions and concepts.
Good, mate.
And,
good. You got back to Australia. When did it start to sort of when did you start to get the feeling in your heart and your soul that maybe my time in the military is coming to an end?
Yeah, again, 2008, 2009. You know, I was going through a few issues, and some of these injuries that occurred. You know, in my whole transition of being in the military, they all started to flare up. I ended up with a lower back fusion, right shoulder surgery, and you know, and then I had neck issues, left shoulder, right hip, left hip. You know, and my knees were gone.
Jeez, mate.
You know, you put in. You just don't want to let anyone down whatsoever. You know, carrying packs with 50 kilos plus and trying to, you know, pack light and, as I said before, freeze at night. But, you know, it was just one of those things that I was packing for my section as well, because I didn't want them to go without. So it was just one of those things that, yeah, you check what they're carrying. Everyone empties their packs. Make sure they got everything. But again, you just don't want to let your section down.
So it was more that injuries and the pain and the lack of lifestyle or quality of life that you were starting to feel, is that the sort of the main driver?
And yeah, it was. You know, I was suffering from. I didn't want to admit to it, but yeah, I had a lot of PTSD from obviously the first trip, the second trip, third, fourth, and obviously the fifth as well.
Yeah, man. It's cumulative, buddy.
And you know, when you get back to Australia and you hit that lull in the battle, no one's doing anything. You know, you think to yourself, what's next? You know, and pretty much from there, we were just trying to adjust to, you know, back to normal life, and you just can't do it. You're heightened all the time. You know, you hear a car backfire, and next minute you're thinking, shit, do I have to drop to the ground now?
Yeah,
and what's
run down,
going on?
crawl.
Yeah,
aim fire.
That's it. You know, and yeah, Bombardier taught us all that. Yeah, definitely. You know, and
it's a struggle, mate, isn't it?
And it is 100%. You know, sleep at the moment, and you know, becoming a real estate agent. I tell people I'm available 24/7, and the reason I'm available 24/7 because I don't sleep.
Because that's how you're wired, mate. Yeah, the military taught you to do that.
That's right. You know, and you know it yourself. When you're passionate about something, and I've seen you through your career from pretty much Kapooka, you know, seeing you up in Townsville, you know, hitting those golf balls around, me hitting your ball and hitting it on the green, you hitting mine into the bunker. Yeah. You know, you're so passionate, and you just see you here at Axon, and everybody looks up to you. You know,
nice,
you're getting so much done, and you know, a lot of soldiers are still calling me from the Army, Navy, Air Force, going, you know, Spain, I'm thinking about buying my first house, looking at leaving the Army. I'm saying, call Axon.
Yeah,
you know, this is a link. Yeah. You know, this is the guy that's professional. Even though that I helped a lot of my soldiers and a lot of my sections enter into investing in property, you know, instead of them pissing their money up against the tree or that sort of thing, you know, and buying that first new car, you know, it's just like buy a property. Yeah. You know, that's what's going to set you up and put a roof over your head if you discharge.
When you got out, how were you first feeling?
Yeah, I lost my purpose. You know, the biggest thing is in the Army, you've got a purpose to finish the mission, make sure everybody's safe, there's no issues with anyone, and pretty much there, when you get out, you got nothing. You know, as soon as you walk out those gates, you look back, you're thinking to yourself, I can't go back in there again. You know, you got to get escorted, and you're escorted like you're a criminal in some cases. You know, I look at some warrant officers, you know, some that have gone through their whole career, 20, 30 years, and next minute they can't even go in there as well. Yeah, they've got their mates and all that sort of thing still serving, but, you know, I've got one mate, he just got out just this year, and I did 2 tours with him. And
how many years did he end up
He did
doing?
23 in total, and he'd done 5 tours as well.
Right.
You know, but he was Landshack when he got out after 23 years.
Whew.
He was one of those sort of guys. He'd done, like I mentioned, 5 tours as well, and he went to Afghanistan as well. Not with me, but with some other units. And again, 3 tours to East Timor and Solomon Islands, all that sort of stuff.
Mate, I see it. So there's other corporals that I was down at Kapooka with when I met you.
Yep.
That are still in now, and they're tier 3, 4 RSMs. They've all done 30 odd years, 35 years, and I can clap and congratulate and honour them all the time that I see their stuff on social media.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's another part of me that says, "Fuck, it's going to be hard when you get out."
Definitely.
Because the longer you're in, the more ingrained you are, the harder it's going to be to extract yourself back out of the beast and find out who the fuck. Like when you're a bloody tier 2, 3, 4 RSM, your levels of pride, your levels of respect, your levels of recognition, everyone fucking jumps when you fucking say how high. It ain't like that in the real world.
No,
So
it's
a part of me, and I'm not being geography, ladies and gents, please let me be very clear. A part of me feels sorry for them because what I know, I've been out for 9 years now. I only did 24 years. Doing 34 years, there's an extra 10 years worth of stuff in your brain that you need to be able to get rid of and transition into. I couldn't imagine trying to transition after doing 30 plus years because I found it hard enough. I still find it hard enough now, only after doing my time. So it's a real double-edged sword. Go as long and as hard and as fast as you possibly can with your military career, but know this, it is going to come to an end. It's not if you get out, it's when you get out. And the deeper you're in, the fucking longer it's going to take to get out again. And what I mean by out, find your purpose, find your passion, find your identity. Who are you when you don't have a uniform on? Who are you when you don't have your post-nominals on your fucking LinkedIn profile that no employer gives a fuck about? You know, as it says in the movie Tom Cruise, it's time to let go.
Yeah.
Remember the words that he's talking to Val Kilmer about? Spoiler, it's too fucking late if you haven't seen the movie by now. I don't care that I've spoiled it. Like, you've got to let go. It took me a long time to let go.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I have still. But, you know, I'm so proud of those people that are still serving and doing an amazing job. But geez, it's going to be a hard road out unless they land on their feet and they've got that soft landing and they go to an organisation that loves and respects and cares for them and pays them and rewards them for all the service they've done. It's a tricky one, mate, isn't it?
And it is. You know, I've got really good mates that I've served with, and again, they're WOS RSMs as well. And you know, they're still serving. You know, if it wasn't for my injuries, I'd still be in. You know,
Yeah.
Just I did. I love my career. in
I'd
the
probably
army.
still be in too if it wasn't for a couple of unfortunate events. I have no doubt about that. And I often think, I'm like, where would I be? What would I be doing? You know, I'd probably still be a major.
Yeah.
I was 5th year major when I got out. I'd be fucking 14-year major under my belt by now. I don't know. Someone might have bloody felt sorry for me and given me a promotion one day. But, you know, one thing I do know, mate, and as you and I transition into what we're doing now, you know, Axons created over $160 million of wealth into the defence community. And I know that you have countless millions of dollars that you have provided wealth into people's lives as well. And you just can't do that if we were still serving. So it's a real, you know, and I feel now that I'm living my best life. You, above all, knew that I was a lean, green fighting machine that had fucking army green running through my veins.
Yeah.
And some say I still do. My wife certainly does. But one thing I do know, mate, is, and you would agree, the success and the trials and tribulations that we've been able to achieve since getting out, this is us living our best life.
And it is, you know, to become a civilian, you know, again, it was very hard, finding your identity again, having a purpose, thinking, what am I going to do next? You know, the injuries I was still going through, I still needed other, you know, surgeries on my left shoulder, my neck.
Mate, I spoke to you 6 months ago, you were in hospital.
Yeah, I was in hospital.
Again.
You know, the funny thing about that one, like November last year, I had me neck fused and I sold 3 houses from my hospital bed.
Wow.
You know, and
there you go, 24/7.
you know, it's quite funny. I had a phone call from these buyers for this property, and I had a friend come and pick me up. walk me downstairs, and next minute I'm getting changed into a suit and tie and all the sort of stuff. But I've still got this big patch on my neck. And she's driven me out to these two properties I had for sale, 1.4 and a 1.2 mil property. They didn't want the 1.4, so I pretty much told them, let's go and have a look at the 1.2. Showed them around, and next minute they've just gone, we'll take this one. So did the offer to purchase, sent it all off to the conveyancers and the solicitors, the buyers and the sellers. Mm-hmm. They're happy with everything. And then before I knew it, I was back in hospital again. And spent another 2-3 days in there. But went through a couple other more sales as well.
Yeah, good on you, mate. That's what it's all about. Tell me, what's it like being a business owner as a veteran?
Again, I went for so many jobs when I first got my certificate. Nobody wanted to hire me because of my injuries and my issues.
Right.
So the only other alternative was to start my own business.
Yeah. No one would want to hire me either. That's why I'm like, fuck it, I'll start my own.
I was thinking on that on the way in here today, and I'm thinking to myself, I can only work for myself. And then I'm thinking to myself, the way that RT is passionate about Axon, you know for a fact that, from his Kapooka days through to his whole army career, that there's no way that he could work for someone else because he's passionate about being a business owner.
I tried it for a few years. It's a funny story. I tried it for a few years, and I'll say it again and again. That other gentleman who gave me a shot when I got out of the military, whilst we don't speak anymore and we left on unreasonable terms, I'm forever grateful for the chance that he gave me. I've said it again and I'll say it again here now. When I was transitioning away from that business, and I was telling some of my other friends down here, even some of the business owners of restaurants I go to, you've seen me, I'm in restaurants all the time.
Yeah.
I said to one of the gentlemen, like, I'm just about to finish up with this other fella and start my own business. And you know what he said to me? He goes, I thought you owned that other business.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's probably part of the reason why I'm not there anymore, because I care about that business more than what the current business owner does. So I'm like, why the fuck am I doing it with him? And I've documented the rest of the story on my other sort of podcast. So, mate, there's a lot to be said about passion, and when you fucking truly believe that what you are doing is helping other people. I've got this saying, I care so much, I don't care.
Yeah. 100%.
Man in the arena.
Yeah.
You can take pot shots. You can take pot shots at me and pot shots at Axon and pot shots at what we do. But unless you're fucking doing what we're doing, donating money to veteran charities like I know you're a huge contributor to, and changing the lives of other people, shut the fuck up.
You're always going to get those backstabbers, and there's a reason why they're behind you, because they're failing, you're not.
Yeah.
And that's what I realised in business. Before I started my own business, I actually did go out with two ladies, and at
the same time. It's true.
No, business owners. But no, they're absolutely phenomenal. And like yourself, one of these ladies, I was always, I was so regimented, and she kept on saying to me, calm down a little bit, and when somebody said something bad about anybody, you don't say nothing bad about a woman in my presence, because I'll stick up for them. I don't care who they are.
Good.
And the next minute, she pretty much turned around and said, look, I don't care what people say about me. They're behind us for a reason. And we're doing really well. Just care about the sale, care about the vendors and the buyers. Don't worry about other agents. And then pretty much, it didn't really catch on until later on. And then I started to learn, how to become a civvy again. And, she's amazing. I still work with her today. She's actually at Koloshi, an amazing agency. And so's the other lady, she's amazing as well. They're both at Koloshi, and it is an amazing agency.
Very, very prominent, very well regarded, award winning real estate firm here on the. And you know what? To your credit, mate, it's so nice to hear you speak about effectively a rival firm in such gracious terms.
Michael, he runs a real family team. They are his family. Every agent that works for him, The one thing about business, you don't denigrate other agencies. It makes you look unprofessional, but why denigrate such a professional agency like Koloshi? They are, every person that I've spoken to there, even the principal Michael, absolutely amazing. They've helped me out with things. Even a owner of Harvey Norman, I took a client there and he spent over $120,000 in one day. From there, the property, $3.7 million property I sold to him, it was just one of those things. Working with other people, you always, if you've got nothing good to say about someone, you just don't say it at all.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I've got this little, I heard this from one of the mentors that I follow a guy on the internet, not a mentor. He said, look, if you want to build the biggest building in town, build the biggest business in town, you got two choices. You can tear everyone else's building down, or just focus on building your own business.
100%.
And guess what I'm doing?
Yeah.
The latter.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I've not built Axon as an ivory tower where people can just fucking take pot shots at us. It's a steel fucking fortress.
Yeah.
I will not go at anyone else until they have a crack at me and then watch the fuck out.
Yeah.
That's we need to be able to protect what we've got. We know you and I have both worked incredibly hard. We've focused on, creating a business model. We've got our clients, we've got our reputation, we've got our service. And if anyone's going to try and take it down, mate, look, it's going to come back plus GST.
It's hard. It takes a good 2 years to actually build a profile, database, network, people to trust you, forming that connection of trust with buyers and sellers and, other builders, contractors, and when you build that, that connection of trust and paying people all the time when they need to be paid.
Yeah.
If people are waiting to be paid, they don't trust you anymore.
Yeah, you're gone.
You're 100% gone.
Mate, I've loved this. Final question from me to you. What would you say to young Shaun that's just joined the army? Because I know there'll be other people out here listening about, following these guys on Axon, veterans, talking about joining the military, transition, etc. What would you say to yourself now with your life hindsight, when you got off that bus at Kapooka, whether I was with the first bloke or not, there was probably an MP directing traffic there in the first instance, while us bloody RIs were rubbing our hands together going, can't fucking wait to get my bloody, my teeth stuck into these guys. What would you say to yourself back then, mate, as you were about to embark on your amazing military career?
Don't change a thing. Just keep going with it. I recommend the Army to anyone, Navy, Air Force. Being in the Defence Force is a true honour. Serving your country, doing your bit, and helping out others, especially in these other countries, and trying to provide peace to them. Not change their cultures, but we did it for the kids. See those kids running around happy and all that sort of thing.
In places like Timor and Afghanistan,
Iraq, and just see them, knowing that here's us Aussies flying the flag, and who are these people, putting our roads, community centres, bridges, creating the freedom, and that's what it's all about.
Mate, awesome. Shaun Spain, you got a couple of flyers in here. I'll just hold it up to the camera that you can see on this side. You can see, you trusted me with your country. You can trust me with your home. So we've got, luxury real estate sales, bespoke realty, Gold Coast. Mate, you've done so well, buddy. Thank you for bringing in some of your flyers. If you are here in the Gold Coast and you are looking to buy a property or sell a property, go speak to this guy. He'll look after you. He'll make sure that you're being absolutely looked after from a trust, integrity, and sort of genuine manner, mate. I've loved having you here on Axons Unleashed. It's been a long while coming. I know you and I got very busy schedules, but if there's anything else that comes up in the future, mate, I can't wait to have you come back on.
Awesome. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you, brother.
It was a pleasure.
I really appreciate it, mate.
No
Good
worries.
on you. Speak
Cheers.
to you soon.
You bet. Yeah, bye.